Good afternoon, student. Another chapter for Architecture 110, we will discuss about environmental design. Environmental design does mean regard everything not inside from the building. We need to concern with something outside from the building in design because it will affect for your design in building. So that's the reason you need to learn more about environmental design after or before you have start to design for the building. Okay, today we will discuss about that. Few things we need to know before we start with the environmental design. The first one is topography, the second one circulation, the third one is parking, the fourth is landscaping, and the fifth one is other design consideration. When you design for the building, it will not be completely if you're not concerned with the influence from the environmental condition. So that's why you need to be concerned at least with this condition in environmental design. In different way, you can tell you like that environmental design contributes important functions in the building design. So if you have the knowledge, or you need to read more about environmental design, it helps you a lot in building design. This a few thing I think that is important before you design. Topography is the first one, so we go with topography first. Topography is the map that includes on of the contour line, and it connects many points at the same elevation. That's the contour map, the contour lines. But the topography is have a lot of contour line. It's a round curve connect together, and it usually show a lot of the curve inside from the map. Contour lines cannot be modified or existing with the tree or planting something like this. It's not covered with that one. Contour line never crossed. It can be parallel, but it cannot cross together. One contour line never split into two or more lines. Driveway and the roads are best run parallel. It should be run parallel with the contour lines. If the grade change is necessary, run the road for the slight angle, existing contour, and modify road contour to provide the drainage. It is better to orient buildings with their long side parallel to the contour line. Don't do the perpendicular. It's got a lot of problem with the slope one. Make sure you have the drainage away from the building on all sides. When you see on the contour line with a lot of line, try to design your buildings far away from the side, from the line from the contour. This is one example for you can see the contour lines look like this. It have a lot of curve. You can call that the contour line, and one of the contour lines is connect on of the point at the same elevation. For example, this is the contour line. You see that's on the top one is the highest one. After that is lower, 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 and the last one is zero. That means on the round line. So now if you look at elevation, the round line is this one. And if same point or different point connect at the same elevation is 0 point, they have in this line. So that's why the contour line they show on of the point have the same elevation. If you have other elevation, for example, you have 150 feet, and on of the line right here is 150 feet on the line right here. That means the contour line they show many contour line like this. Okay, and every point on this line should be the same elevation, and they show the number right here for you can see how high from elevation from that point. For example, this curve they have 50 feet, and next one is 100 feet. That means on of the point this curve is 100 feet. On the top one we have 287. That means on the top one right here. And if you have low right here 250, it is 250 right here. On of the curve right here 250, and on the top one is 285. So that's why contour map is the map they show on of the line with the curved one, and they show on of the contour lines in the map, and each of them have the elevation height is different. Every curve they have different elevation height. The second one is circulation requirements for you need to separate pedestrian circulation from the vehicle circulation. You need to separate that, cannot be mixed. That's one. Pedestrian walkway should be minimum 5 feet wide, and the walk next to the parking lots that provide a path to the building. Whenever possible, we need to have the path for to go from the circulation from the parking to the building. The main walk should be 6 to 8 feet wide minimum. You need to use the slope for walk of 5% for accessible design, and building near an entrance from the building you maximum be 4% from that's one. If you have the ramp for accessible to the physically disabled for on of the chain elevation. If you have the chain elevation, you need to design for the ramp for accessible can run in that way. The maximum slope is 1/12 if the handrail are available. If you have the handrail and the slope from the ramp is 1/12. The minimum clear dimension of the ramp is 36 inches. That means the ramp, they have the dimension. They cannot be less than 36 inches. Its of landing must be at least 5 times 5 feet, and handrails must be extended 12 inches beyond the ramp. If you had the ramp, for example, you had the ramp long is 5 feet, and you need to do the rail, and the rail should be 5 feet 6 inches. So 12 inches from, the handrail would be extended from 12 inches beyond the ramp. That means 1 foot be beyond the ramp. If the ramp is 6 feet, and the rail should be 7 feet because they have 12 inches. This is an example from circulation. If you look at this, it's so bad for circulation. Right now, it's a lot of Asia country. They have the small area, and the population is so much. So that's why they have so not very good for circulation, especially on the working time, on the peak point. When you design for the walkway, you need to provide for the walks connection various side feature to the engine near the building, public transportation stop, or near the parking lots, play area. Although the parking lot, asset, or the service drive may use the same entry from the street, when the side keep two areas separate to avoid conflicts with the cars or the truck, to avoid from the conflicts from the cars and the truck, and the service area should be possible with the structure. If a driveway or pedestrians path both need to enter aside from the street, they should either by side, and they separate by 60 feet otherwise. Try to provide direct access from the parking area to the building for many stores if possible, so people do not cross the drive. We have the store in there so they can see and they cannot cross the drive. Avoid the dead end parking area if possible. The dead end, that means stop, no access. If you merge them, limit the number from the parking store in the dead end area, and provide enough space for the car using the last few stores to back out. If the dead end, that means you cannot drive more, and we need to design less parking store and provide enough the space for the car can use to back out. Okay, so go with example like this. You can see like that is so bad circulation. Vehicle circulation is so bad. If look like this, It's hard to get in, get out from that crowd people. Look at this. It's the circulation for, the vehicle circulation is so hard to know. Even they have the lights right here, but a lot of people like us go. It's hard to control with the light. And this is no light. The policeman, give the sign for people can run or stop. So danger. And you can see the traffic look like this. Okay, so, and when he say go, and you can see that's how far they can stop. It's so weird. And this is another way you can see the circulation is so busy. Same thing with this one. And I don't know how we can run from this street like this. Okay, so number 3, parking requirements. When you have access to the parking, to design for the parking area, and you need the requirement for number of parking, the size for the parking, handicap space, and usually 90-degree parking is the best. That means they most efficiency. Yield and less to the projects required for angle parking. 45 degree and 60 degrees. Sometimes you need to do that, but not really good like 90 degree. We need to locate parking for the physical disabled near the main entry and such a way that the passenger do not have to cross the traffic to get to the building for the handicapped people. Locate the drop-off area so they do not conflict with the backup space for the parked cars. This usually requires separate lane for the drop-off. If we design for some kind of drop-off, you need to design as far from the park-up space, because if you have park-up space over there and you have the drop-off, it's so dangerous for the people stop and working on in the car. This is example where they say 90 degree in this one. That means the parking straight with the walkway. This is the walkway. This is the parking. And if the parking straight like this, we call that 90 degree because it's in 90 degree for parking. If you parking like that and the sidewalk look like this, and I guess this is 45 degree. Okay, the parking like this, it's just one way parking, one way drive. So if you have no choice, you need to design this one, but you have choice, please. This one is the best one in design for parking, 90 degree. And we need the cross for the people on handicap parking. They can go to the building, and the ramp for they can run the wheelchair. This is everything about the sign from the parking lot. This is example, so you can see that's a very weird circulation. You look at this. This is the walkway, and the car can park in here. And same thing. You see that the curve right here, and they park in there. And then after that, the car runs. I don't know. It's one way or two way, maybe one way, and they park around the parking lot, around the walk side. So that's why it's so weird. It is structure parking, and it look like this. And this is so funny for parking. They allow, this is the Europe car, and you can see this is the small one for electrical car, and it's parking look like this. Okay, number 4 is the landscape requirement. Some kind, when you design for the building, you also pay attention on the landscape around from the building. So many ways you can design for the landscape one, and also you have many different types from the trees you can select to design around the building. But basically we usually use for the deciduous tree, ornamental trees, evergreen tree, hedge, shrubs, and crowd cover. Basically we have very much different type of the tree, but the few of them you usually see regular. The first one, evergreen tree. That's the tree used for the wind control, and it's for whole year round. It's from loading dock, from parking lots and other service area, because it's evergreen tree. So that's why it's never drop on the fall season. Deciduous tree is for solar control in the summer and allow solar heat gain on the building in the winter. So the citrus tree, they have the solar control. So let's say the summer, they allow the sun get inside to the building. In ornamental tree, this is just a tree for the balance or symmetric pattern. When the problem for the formal design, you want to do that for the balance with the building design, or you want to do for symmetric in the patterns in design. Hedge shrub can be used for direct pedestrians traffic. When they use this one, they look like the nose for the passenger. For the pedestrian, that is, it cannot go through, cannot walk through, something like that. It's just some kind like the size. And if you want to say for existing tree in the major vegetation, the safety is important. For on of the design, do not use a dense landscape close to the building or across the wall. So that's why for safety, we don't need to use for the dense landscape. Which one is close with the building is make danger or around the sidewalk. This is some example for you see that the green tree, that the tree wind control, they have forever, they didn't change for the seasons. This is the second one, is the seasonal tree. You can see that on the autumn they drop leaves a lot, or they change the color in the autumn. And this tree, it's just for, I think that is for decoration. It's not good for you can design for many, many building. For you need to clean up a lot in the season. This is the hedge, or the one you can use for the notice for the run sidewalk or not trashing the house. This is the herb, and you can see that is, you don't need to spend a lot of time to take care of this one. This one is so it can remain in the status so long, so you don't need to do a lot of things else. Okay, so beside of topography, circulation, parking, landscape, we have order for consideration before you start with the building design. For example, the structure or no structure, the limit from the landscape, and the zoning setback, about outdoor area, the best locate for direction, something like that. That means more things you need to concern before you start to design. But basically, topography, circulation, landscape, and parking is the one really needs when you start to design. Okay, so give you one example from this one. Is the building. This is another building. They create from the access. They can go from this building to the higher building. And you look at this, they have nothing to support for this one. It is so dangerous. The first one, because building very close together, so that's why they need very special for the fire rate system wall here and here also, because it's so close together. The second one, if you create some kind like the access and the egress one to another building, at least they have something to support for this one, because the access one, in the case they use this, lots of people use at the same time, and this is not safe for the load at the same time. So I think it's so weird to design like that. Okay, so basically we have this lecture to talk about the environmental design. Every time I remind you that on of the resource you can look at this one, Canvas file, textbook, and my channel. I also need you to sometime to read on of the file on the canvas, so make sure that you have enough information for the midterm, for the quiz or the final, and for yourself when you learn from the course. Textbook is some chapter for you can read more, advance more about the knowledge in architecture. If you look at the textbook, you can see many funny picture that's always give you the message when that's one. Even you smile, but you learn something in that one. And finally, my channel, I create my channel for all of you can learn more about the chapter instead from the reading. You have some kind of video so you can hear that. And I also create some of the true life, so you can get all of the I think not all of, but a lot of things very close with your normal life, so you can understand about that's one in architecture. Right now I have 10 of them. I think 9 or 10 of the true life. If you go to the first one, ADU, and after that I continue with more true life. That is the one you can learn around your life. With it happen every day. You learn something about addition, you learn something about ADU, and the other one for plumbing fixture calculation, occupant load, something like that. That's one you learn something about architecture instead of just read in the book, read in the lecture. Something I give you to learn more about architecture. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next time.